Do you still believe honesty makes you noble? Then you are already the prey. In this world, honesty is not a virtue, it is a weakness. And today, I will show you why those who worship truth are destined to be destroyed by those who weaponize deception. Men cling to honesty as if it were a shield, imagining that truth will protect them. But in the theater of power, honesty is nothing but a confession of weakness. The wolves circle those who reveal too much. The liar, the manipulator, the strategist. These are the men who rise. Understand this, honesty is not a sword. It is a noose. And unless you learn to wield deception as an art, you will serve those who do. Let us strip away the illusion of virtue and confront the darker truth. The world rewards cunning, not candor. You have been told that honesty is the foundation of trust, that if you speak the truth, you will be respected. But tell me, have you not noticed that the honest man is always the easiest to defeat? Every truth you reveal is a confession. Every confession is a weapon placed in the hands of another. You think you are disarming suspicion, but in reality, you are stripping away your armor. You are standing naked on the battlefield, hoping your enemy will admire your courage instead of striking you down. Look at history. Julius Caesar, before he crossed the Rubicon, concealed his true intentions from the Senate. He spoke in riddles, gave promises without substance, and kept his rivals guessing. Had he been honest, had he declared openly his ambition for power, he would have been destroyed before his legions ever marched. His secrecy, his refusal to expose his hand, was his shield. His dishonesty preserved his life until the moment came to strike. Now contrast this with Marcus Aurelius, a man of principle, a philosopher, emperor, admired for his honesty. And yet, even he was betrayed by his own circle, manipulated by generals and advisors who understood that honesty is predictable. Predictability is exploitable. Do you see? Virtue did not save him from the schemes of men less noble than himself. This is the first law of power: what you reveal, others can use. Psychology confirms what princes and rulers have always known. The human mind is a collector of information. We listen, we store, we analyze, we wait. Every detail you share becomes a thread in the web your rivals will weave against you. Tell a colleague your fears, and you have armed them with leverage. Confess your desires, and you have handed them the map to your manipulation. Ask yourself, how many times have you exposed too much, only to see it twisted against you? Consider the workplace. The honest man tells his superior that he struggles with deadlines. He believes honesty will earn sympathy. Instead, he earns a reputation for weakness. His career stagnates while the cunning operator, who conceals his flaws and masks his ambition behind a smile, ascends. Or think of relationships. The one who declares every emotion, every insecurity, becomes dependent, transparent, easily manipulated. The silent partner, who withholds and reveals selectively, holds the power to destabilize and control. Honesty is not a sword, it is a chain you wrap around yourself. And yet, society teaches you to value it. From childhood, you are told to be honest, as though honesty itself were a moral shield. But who benefits from this? Your parents, your teachers, your rulers. Those who want you compliant. Those who want your thoughts and weaknesses exposed so they may mold you, use you, or punish you. The doctrine of honesty serves not the honest man, but the system that exploits him. Think of chess. The novice reveals his strategy early, telegraphing his moves with clumsy enthusiasm. The master conceals, misleads, feints, and strikes where least expected. Which one wins? To live honestly in a dishonest world is to march into a den of wolves while wearing the skin of a lamb. You may be admired for your purity, but admiration is worthless when you are powerless, devoured, forgotten. Ask yourself this: if honesty truly protected men, why is it that liars dominate politics, business, and empire? Why do leaders wear masks while followers speak plainly? Because followers are meant to be harvested, their truths stripped away, their predictability exploited. Leaders survive by deception. Followers perish in sincerity. Does this mean you must always lie? No. To lie constantly is to be discovered. Instead, learn the art of selective honesty. Speak truths that cost you nothing, truths that mislead rather than expose. Reveal fragments that create the illusion of transparency while concealing the core of your intentions. This is not dishonesty. It is strategy. It is survival. Remember this: men crave certainty. They will pressure you to reveal yourself, to confess, to be real. Resist. The more they demand honesty, the more you must resist the temptation to satisfy them. Because the moment you yield, you give them the blade with which to cut you down. The wise man wears honesty as a mask, never as a chain. Now, let me leave you with a question. If revealing truth makes you vulnerable, then what of those who master the art of hiding it? If your honesty enslaves you, what power does deception grant the cunning? That is where our lesson continues. Deception is not merely a trick. It is the highest weapon of power. The predator survives because it remains unseen until the strike. The prey, on the other hand, dies because it reveals itself too early. So it is with men. Those who deceive, who cloak their intentions, who smile while plotting, their enemies are blinded. The honest man, by contrast, parades his thoughts openly. He invites his own destruction. Think of Hannibal. Crossing the Alps with elephants, he faced not only the Roman legions, but the expectations of men who thought the task impossible. What saved him was not brute force, but cunning. He deceived his foes with sudden maneuvers, feints, and impossible marches. Rome could not predict him, and unpredictability is terror. The predator's advantage lies in keeping the prey uncertain, trapped in fear, always reacting rather than acting. Now compare this to those who play with open cards. They reveal their hand, hoping to gain trust. Yet in doing so, they surrender control. Trust does not make you powerful. Control does. Psychologists tell us that the brain craves predictability. We are pattern-seeking creatures. When confronted with uncertainty, the mind grows anxious, desperate to restore clarity. This is where the predator thrives. By withholding, by disguising, by misleading, you force your rivals into a state of psychological chaos. They imagine threats that may not exist. They overreact, exposing themselves. While they burn energy trying to decipher you, you conserve yours, preparing the decisive blow. Ask yourself, have you ever dealt with someone whose behavior you could never quite read? Did it not disturb you? Did it not make you cautious, hesitant, even fearful? That is the predator's aura. That is power. Consider politics. The great manipulators never speak too plainly. They give vague promises, half-truths, deliberate contradictions. Their enemies become trapped in speculation, never knowing what is real. Meanwhile, the manipulator controls the board. The predator dictates not by revealing, but by concealing. The same holds in war. Sun Tzu, centuries before, taught that all warfare is based on deception. Show strength when weak, weakness when strong. Attack where unexpected. This is the law of predators, to dictate the field not by force, but by illusion. But this is not limited to emperors and generals. Look at your daily life. In business, the man who hides his strategy, who disguises his ambitions, will always outmaneuver the one who lays everything on the table. A company that cloaks its true intentions launches innovations before competitors, even though the game has changed. The predator devours while the prey is still asking questions. In relationships, too, deception is a weapon. The one who withholds, who remains unpredictable, creates tension, fascination, and control. The partner who is endlessly transparent becomes routine, predictable, and thus powerless. The predator's advantage lies in mystery, in silence, in what is not said. Now ask yourself, why do men condemn deception so loudly? Why do they call liars evil, manipulators corrupt, strategists immoral? It is because they are prey. They fear what they cannot control. They despise the predator because he exposes their weakness. The moral code against deception is not a universal truth. It is a defense mechanism of the vulnerable. And yet, in their secret hearts, even the prey admires the predator. They envy his freedom, his control, his ability to bend reality with words and appearances. They only lack the courage, or the cruelty, to do the same. So, you must decide, will you play the role of prey, chained by honesty, paralyzed by transparency? Or will you take the predator's advantage, concealment, unpredictability, and mastery of appearances? But beware, deception is an art, not a blunt tool. The predator strikes at the right moment, not every moment. Overuse reveals you. Reckless lying destroys trust entirely. But selective deception, like the serpent's strike, leaves no time for defense. Do not imagine that the predator's path is crueler than the prey's. Both must suffer, but only one survives. Now let me ask you, if deception blinds your enemies and forces them into chaos, what happens when you go beyond deception and learn to wear virtue itself as a mask? What happens when you convince others not only of your honesty, but of your very goodness, while concealing the knife behind your back? Men admire virtue. They long to believe their leaders are honest, loyal, merciful, just. But let us strip away the illusion. Virtue is not power, virtue is theater. The ruler who truly lives by virtue becomes a slave to it. He is bound by rules that others exploit. The ruler who appears virtuous, while acting with cold calculation, commands both admiration and control. Which role would you rather play, the slave or the master? History is clear. Take Cesare Borgia. He was known for his cruelty, his deception, his ruthless ambition. And yet to the people, he wore the mask of order and justice. When he executed his brutal lieutenant, it was not out of mercy but strategy. He staged the execution in public, so the people saw him as a deliverer, not a tyrant. He appeared virtuous, but he was not. And this illusion made him feared and respected at once. Now look at the opposite. Savonarola, the Dominican friar in Florence. He clung to true virtue, denouncing corruption, demanding purity, preaching divine justice. For a moment, the people adored him. But soon, his rigid honesty became predictable, his virtue unbearable. His enemies, less honest but more cunning, turned the crowd against him. He was hanged and burned in the very city he once ruled. Tell me what saved him. His virtue, no. It destroyed him. Do you see the pattern? Those who worship virtue become martyrs. Those who wear virtue become masters. Psychology proves the same law. People rarely look beneath appearances. They judge not by truth, but by perception. A leader who seems honest inspires loyalty, even if his words are false. A partner who seems faithful inspires trust, even if betrayal lurks. The human mind is not built for truth. It is built for belief, and belief is easily shaped. Ask yourself, how many times have you trusted someone because they looked sincere? Because they spoke softly, carried themselves with dignity, or shed a tear at the right moment? Did you examine the truth, or did you accept the performance? This is the mask of virtue at work. The wise understand this. They cultivate an image. They show mercy when it costs them nothing, knowing it buys loyalty. They speak of justice while pursuing ambition. They display honesty selectively, offering harmless truths to conceal dangerous lies. They appear virtuous without ever being trapped by virtue. And why does this work? Because men want to be deceived. They crave symbols of goodness, stories of integrity, leaders they can trust. It comforts them, and comfort blinds them. Consider modern politics. How many leaders rise by promising honesty, by declaring their commitment to the people? Do you truly believe these words are principle? No, they are performance. Masks worn for applause. Behind the curtain, the same leaders cut deals, hide scandals, and manipulate rivals. And yet the people still cheer, because the mask is convincing. The same principle applies in your own life. In business, those who insist on absolute honesty are bypassed by those who manage appearances. The employee who admits every weakness remains stagnant. The one who projects confidence, who appears loyal while pursuing self-interest, becomes indispensable. In relationships, the person who reveals every truth suffocates trust with too much reality. The one who conceals flaws while displaying selective virtue remains admired, even desired. Does this make you uneasy? It should, because it means the game you thought was about truth is actually about performance. The question is not whether you are virtuous. The question is, can you wear the mask convincingly enough to fool those who need to believe? Understand this: to appear merciful is often more powerful than to be merciful. To appear just is often more valuable than to practice justice. Men are moved not by truth, but by appearances that soothe their fears and feed their hopes. This is the stage upon which power is won. But beware, If the mask slips, if your deception is revealed clumsily, the illusion shatters. Then the crowd turns savage, punishing you not for your cruelty but for exposing their gullibility. That is why the mask must be worn with precision. It must fit so tightly that even when you act with cruelty, it seems to them like virtue. So, I ask you, will you chain yourself to true virtue and wait for the wolves to devour you? Or will you master the art of wearing virtue as armor, while keeping your true weapons hidden beneath the robe? The answer determines whether you rule or are ruled. And yet, this raises a darker question. If men can be deceived so easily by appearances, what happens when you not only mask yourself, but exploit their very desire to trust? What happens when you turn their faith into the instrument of their downfall? Trust is not given, it is taken, and betrayal is not accidental, it is inevitable. You have been told that trust is a virtue, that loyalty is sacred, that promises bind men, yet history proves otherwise. Trust is the greatest vulnerability a man can expose. Betrayal is the most common currency of power. Ask yourself, why is it so often the honest man who suffers first? Consider Brutus and Caesar. Caesar trusted Brutus, believed in his loyalty, welcomed him into his confidence. And yet, it was Brutus who plunged the dagger. The lesson is brutal in its simplicity. Trust without strategy is death. Trust exposes intention, reveals weakness, and invites exploitation. Did Caesar fail because he misjudged Brutus's virtue, or because he failed to treat trust as a weapon, as a means of control? Psychologically, trust functions like a lens through which men perceive others. When you trust, your mind filters information, seeing what you wish to see. Cognitive biases blind you to danger. You hear soothing words, see comforting gestures, and ignore the shadows. And this blindness is what the predator exploits. Do you not see the pattern in everyday life? A friend shares a secret, believing in your honesty. That secret becomes leverage in negotiation, in competition, in subtle social maneuvering. A partner confides her fears, expecting protection, only to discover that your understanding can be weaponized. Every act of trust carries a hidden price, if you know how to collect it. Even rulers understood this. Louis XI of France, known as the universal spider, wove webs of intelligence throughout his court. He encouraged trust, appeared generous, open, sincere, but only to feed the network of spies he maintained. Each promise, each gesture of friendship was calculated. He collected confidences like coins, and when the time came, those confidences became instruments of manipulation. Trust was never innocent. It was strategic. And yet, most men ignore the lesson. They assume loyalty is mutual, that kindness will be reciprocated. How many lives have been ruined, how many empires toppled, because the honest misjudged human nature? Do you want to remain one of them? Betrayal is not merely a moral failing. It is a predictable outcome of trust placed without oversight. History is full of examples. Cleopatra trusted Antony, and in the shifting sands of alliance, that trust became her vulnerability. Tsar Nicholas II trusted his advisors, his generals, even the people, and his empire crumbled. In each case, trust was the leash that bound them, while those who wielded deceit walked free. Now consider the mind of the betrayer. Psychologists call it strategic calculation. Betrayal is not impulsive, it is deliberate. The betrayer assesses opportunity, evaluates risk, measures consequences. They wait until your reliance blinds you, until your confidence becomes a weapon in their hands. And when they strike, it is precise, effective, and devastating. Ask yourself, have you been betrayed? Did you not see the signs, dismissing doubts in the name of trust? That is the human condition. To survive, you must study betrayal as rigorously as trust. You must anticipate the moment when your confidence will be used against you. And more importantly, you must understand that to wield power effectively, you must sometimes appear trustworthy while keeping your own advantage in mind. In relationships, in business, in politics, trust is a currency, but one that can be counterfeit. You give it, expecting reciprocity. The cunning man gives it selectively, offering the illusion of confidence while securing himself. He studies motives, tests loyalty, plants illusions, and never reveals the full truth. In doing so, he transforms trust from vulnerability into control. So what is the lesson? Do not abandon trust entirely. Men must have allies, but treat it as a tool, not a virtue. Monitor it. Condition it. Use it to uncover the intentions of others, to shape behavior, to manipulate outcomes. Trust freely and you are prey. Trust strategically and you are predator. Now, let me leave you with this thought. If betrayal is inevitable when trust is mismanaged, what power lies in controlling the perception of trust? What influence can you wield when others believe in your loyalty while you maneuver unseen, silently guiding events in your favor? The answer is not simple, but the path forward leads directly into the mastery of influence itself. Survival is not a matter of morality. It is not a matter of principle. It is a matter of power. Look around you. The world does not reward the honest. It rewards the clever. It rewards the adaptable. Those who cling to virtue for its own sake perish. Those who understand the laws of strategy endure. And the ultimate law is this: survival belongs to those who master the balance between truth and deception, courage and calculation, exposure and concealment. Do you wish to survive, or merely to be admired for your honesty? History is ruthless in teaching this. Consider Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. He did not seize power openly, for an open grab would have meant war and likely death. Instead, he masked ambition with apparent humility, disguised authority with the image of republic loyalty, and consolidated control quietly. Every act was calculated, every word measured. Survival and ultimate domination required cunning above principle. His honesty would have destroyed him. His strategy preserved him and made him immortal. Contrast him with Socrates, who clung to truth above all. A man of wisdom, yes, but also a man who drank hemlock because he refused compromise. His death was not heroic, it was inevitable. When principle confronts power, principle loses. You must understand this if you hope to navigate the world. Psychology offers insight into why this is so. Human beings are drawn to patterns, predictability, and trust, but only when it serves them. To endure, one must learn to manipulate these tendencies, to influence perception without revealing intent, to exploit expectation without triggering resistance. Survival is therefore a strategic endeavor. It is the conscious manipulation of reality as much as the mastery of action. Consider the corporate battlefield. The entrepreneur who discloses every weakness, every plan, every flaw becomes prey to competitors. The one who masks intentions, delays disclosure, and reveals only what serves advantage thrives. In personal relationships, the overly honest are often exploited, while the selective, measured, strategic revealers maintain control over outcomes. This is the laws: reveal too much, and you invite attack; reveal too little, and you inspire respect and fear. Power is never given. It is taken and retained only through constant vigilance. Julius Caesar understood this when he crossed the Rubicon. Every move was deliberate, every ally and rival measured. He trusted selectively, struck decisively, and concealed his true aims until it was too late for opposition. Survival and dominion demanded calculation, not candor. Do not confuse cruelty with strategy. Cruelty, if indiscriminate, provokes retaliation. Strategy, cold and precise, ensures survival without unnecessary risk. To survive, you must strike when advantage is maximized, retreat when danger looms, and appear harmless when strength is hidden. Every action must be weighed against its potential to either preserve or destroy you. The law of survival is simple, yet brutal. Men perish not because they are incapable, but because they are unprepared to navigate the treacherous interplay of power, trust, and deception. Those who anticipate betrayal, conceal intention, and manipulate perception endure. Those who do not fall. Every empire, every corporation, every relationship. These are arenas where the law plays out with merciless consistency. Ask yourself, are you prepared to do what is necessary to endure? Are you willing to abandon illusions of moral fairness, to wield influence without remorse, to act with precision while maintaining the appearance of virtue? Only those who accept these truths can survive. And yet, survival alone is not enough. To endure is to control your environment, to dictate events, to shape reality to your design. This is the apex of power, the predator who does not merely live but dominates, who does not merely respond but dictates outcomes. The final law of survival is therefore inseparable from mastery of influence. So here is the truth. In its starkest form, honesty will destroy you, trust can be exploited, virtue can be masked, betrayal is inevitable. But mastery of strategy, selective deception, and controlled perception allows you not merely to survive, but to thrive. Those who understand this law write history. Those who do not are footnotes, quickly forgotten. Now, consider this: if survival demands strategy above principle, if power requires deception as much as action, then what are the limits of control? How far can one manipulate perception, bend trust, and orchestrate outcomes before the prey becomes predator, or the predator becomes enslaved by his own cunning? The answer is not comforting. It is a question you will carry forward, a shadow that will define your next moves. Because in the game of survival, there is always another player waiting, and the final lesson is never truly over. Power is rarely given, it is seized. Control is rarely obvious, it is concealed. You have seen the truth. Honesty can destroy, trust can be twisted, virtue can be a mask, and betrayal is inevitable. The world rewards those who understand these laws, who move unseen, who manipulate without detection. Do you wield influence, or do you serve those who do? Every word you speak, every gesture you make, every secret you keep or reveal, these are the tools of dominance. Will you remain predictable, exposed, vulnerable? Or will you master the art of subtle control? The lesson is dark, yet simple. The mind is the battlefield, and perception is the weapon. Those who understand this survive, those who do not are prey. Now, I leave you with a question: how will you use the knowledge of power hidden in plain sight? Comment your thoughts below. Subscribe to uncover more Machiavellian strategies. Share this video. Let others learn the art of unseen control or fall to those who already do.